Welcome back. We're here to talk about Saturday's Premier League match between Aston Villa and Watford. Pascal will start with the home side, bottom of the table after another hammering last time out against Everton.
Yeah, it was Remy Gard's first loss, wasn't it? Because in his first game they hosted Man City and they did really well to get a goalless draw in that game. But then going to Everton, Everton started to improve in recent weeks, especially Lukaku. He's looking good. He got two. Barkley got two as well. And to be honest, they were never at the races really. I think quite a few people even thought, when we tipped it last week, we thought maybe they might give Everton a bit of a fight. We thought Everton probably just edged quite a tight game, but it wasn't like that at all. They completely run them rag. Richardson in particular had a really torrid time against Delafeu, who has been in great form in recent weeks, you have to say. And they lost Amavi to that injury over the international break, and maybe that they're maybe missing him a bit already there, because Richardson, he's lost his way in recent years, and he just looks completely outclassed by a young player who formerly at Barcelona, completely outclassed there. And to be honest, they didn't really do much against Everton, completely deserved to lose that, and like you say, still bottom of the table. And that was a real reality check there for Gard, because he started so well with that point against Villa, and then that's more like the Villa we're used to seeing this season.
Yeah, we said they were a bit fortunate to get away with a 0-0 draw against City, but still to keep City to a goalless draw was a good achievement. So to then ship 4 against Everton will be really disappointing for him. But as we say, it's another loss for Aston Villa. Their form is just absolutely terrible. It's hard to see them staying up at the moment, to be honest. Winless in 12 since the opening day of the season. It's obviously the longest run in the Premier League at the moment. 5 points from safety now, 4 points from 19th, and stretching back to last season, it's only 1 win in the last 15. So that is relegation form in any league in the world, and if that doesn't improve pretty soon, they might be cut adrift before February or March or something like that. They need to get some points on the board quickly. It's hard to see where it's going to happen, because home form is usually where relegation threatened teams pick up the bulk of their points, but that hasn't happened this season. They've only got 2 points from 6 home games so far this season. It's the worst record in the league. The only team in the league yet to win in front of their own fans this season. So it's a terrible record. They really need to improve that at Villa Park. This is a decent chance. Watford, I've surprised a few people by quite how well they've been doing, but Villa, before the season began, would have been looking at this as a good chance to get some home points on the board, and it is a good chance. They won't get as many good chances this one. It's a team in the bottom half, and Villa, they've only played 2 top half teams so far this season, so at home, so that home form is even worse when you put it in that perspective. They've still got the toughest matches to come. I think they've played both Manchester clubs at home so far this season, so they've got the likes of Arsenal, United, Liverpool, Tottenham to come, so it's not going to be easy for them going forward. They need to pick up points in matches like this.
Definitely, and the thing is, it's their defence as well. Before last week's game against Everton, they didn't have one of the league's defence, but conceding 4 there. Now only 3 teams conceded more than them. They're the lowest scorers in the whole league. We've talked about their goal problems all season long. They've only scored 10 goals in 13 games. Not good enough. You mentioned how bad they've been at home. At home they're the lowest scorers this season. Only scored 3 goals all season at Villa Park. 2 of those against that 2-2 draw with Sunderland. Simply not good enough. Since August, only 1 goal at Villa Park since then. I saw a stat about Agbonlahor. He's the only player on Villa's books at the moment who's got double figures for the club, ever since he's been there. So that just shows that there's just no real, there's no core to this team really. There's a lot of new players in there who have sort of come and go in the last couple of seasons. Agbonlahor is obviously one of the mainstays from the last few years, but considering he's the only player on the club's books who's got double figures at 10 goals or more, that just shows where the goal struggles are. And they haven't had a striker, a 15 goal season striker now for a good couple of years. So that's where they've got to improve, and surely that's where Gard has to look in January to try and make a signing.
Yeah, and they're coming up against a team with a decent defensive record in Watford so far this season, and as I say, they have surprised a few people. They're the best place of the newly promoted sides, 13th in the table, which they'll be very happy with at this stage of the season. Last time out against Manchester United, they were unfortunate really to lose that one 2-1. They thought they'd rescued a point with Deeney's penalty towards the end, a stupid tackle from Marcos Rojo to give away the penalty, but then Deeney, unfortunate at the other end to concede the own goal. When Schweinsteiger's ball back across, Deeney was just diving in to try and block it, and he took it over the own line at the death. It was harsh on Watford because they played pretty well in the second half. You'd have to say if either team deserved to win it, then it was Manchester United, but Watford, they could argue they did enough to earn a point in that match. It wasn't by any means one-way traffic for United. We thought it might be a bit of a tight game, but Watford, they really had made a game of it. They were good in the second half especially, really tested United on a few occasions, so they can consider themselves quite unlucky to have come away from that match with nothing. Still 7 clear of the relegation zone despite consecutive losses for the first time this season though, so despite that, a little dip in form recently, they're still in a strong position.
Yeah, they are. And it's another goal for Deeney now. He's got 3 this season. He struggled for so long, didn't he? I think it was almost 10 games he went without scoring. He's now got 3. Igalo is 7. That's 10 of their 12 goals. So they do need more goals from elsewhere. And you look at the sort of goal scoring stats, only 2 teams have conceded fewer, I think, scored fewer than Villa, which is Villa, who we obviously talked about earlier, and Stoke. So they do need more goals, and more goals from all areas of the pitch as well. That's where they've got to improve. But, defensively, you mentioned it a bit earlier there, they have been, fairly sound all season. Only two teams outside the top five have conceded fewer than them. So that's where they've been strong this season. And away from home, they've been quite good as well. They've been able to put in good away performances. The only two teams they've lost to are City and Leicester, who are two of the top three, obviously. So, defensively and away from home, they've been fairly solid. They haven't had any really sort of hammerings away from home, which is obviously a good thing, not only for confidence, but also things like goal difference, which could play a part at the end of the season. So things like that need to improve. But it's in home games and against teams where they're expected to maybe win, where they just need to score a few more goals. That's where they need to improve. And if they do that, then they'll probably be fairly set for a mid-table finish this season, I think.
Which way do you see this one going?
I see a draw in this one. I think Villa, they looked better at home. In Guard's first game in charge. And I think Watford, like we said there, they haven't really had many hammerings this season. They've been fairly solid away from home, and I think this could be a 0-0 draw.
Yeah, it's quite hard to see Villa winning this match, the form they're in at the moment. Watford have lost back-to-back games, but they're playing quite well, as I say. Quite unfortunate to lose against United, so I think I can go for an away win here. I don't see many goals like you, so I'm going to go for 1-0 Watford. So I'm going for a narrow Watford victory and a goalless draw. Thanks for joining us.